Hello, everyone. I'm David Ringstrom, a CPA in Atlanta, and welcome to our presentation on advanced pivot table techniques. So for this set of material, going to be assuming that you already have experience with pivot tables and are looking for taking your pivot table abilities further. I will make sure, though, that along the way, I sprinkle in some basics about pivot tables just in case you've signed up for the class and don't have a good grounding with pivot tables yet. Pivot tables are one of the best features in Excel. They do give us the ability to instantly transform data into reports without having to write formulas or copy and paste data and remove duplicates and manipulate the data so much. We're able to just instantly create reports from various sources, as we'll see in this presentation. The presentation is designed to be interactive. I do encourage your questions as we go through the material today. Isaac will route those to me as they come in, and I'm happy to answer them in the moment. Some speakers might ask you to hold all your questions till the end. I'm a bit different. I like to go ahead and field them while we're in the moment in the material there. And do feel that it helps you comprehend the material better. So don't hold back on the questions. I'm happy for you to pick my brain as we go. As Isaac mentioned, there will be 6 polling questions, so do be on the lookout for those. You do need to respond to all 6 to get credit for if you're seeking a CPE certificate for today. Sometimes the questions don't necessarily surface during the presentation. Things may make sense on the screen while I'm presenting it, but then the ground can shift on you when you go and try these techniques with your own data. Many times there can be wrinkles or little nuances that maybe you might find yourself, how do I get past this particular issue? If something like that surfaces, don't hesitate to send me an email after the fact to ask@davidringstrom.com. Happy to entertain any questions about Excel in general. They do not need to be limited to pivot tables. Particularly, it does help me in my work to see where folks are getting stuck or frustrated in Excel, so don't hesitate to reach out. So bring us to our first poll question.
Okay, guys, let's find out what version of Excel you're using. 2016, 2013, 2010, or 2007. And we're going to try and keep this to a maximum of 20 seconds for each of these poll questions. David has lots of good information to share with us, so we want to keep this moving as quickly as possible.
All right, happy to see the majority of folks are using Excel 2016. I do try to accommodate you no matter what version of Excel you may be using, which can be Excel 2007, 10, 13, or 16. Much of what we talk about in this presentation will apply equally across all 4 versions of Excel. There's one element with regard to pivot tables. There's a menu that has been renamed in Excel 2013 and onward versus Excel 2010 and earlier. And so I will bring that to your attention for that menu so that you're not trying to figure out which menu is which in that regard. I will show you everything at least twice today. We'll first walk you through it on the PowerPoint slides, which are very detailed and have numbered steps. I'll then go to Excel 2016 and carry out those steps firsthand. The handouts for the presentation do include an example workbook that has most of the examples I'll be teaching from today. Also includes links to articles I've written that relate to today's materials. So I do try to leave you with a lot of takeaways in choosing one of my presentations. Let's begin by first reaching outside of Excel to find the data that we can summarize with a pivot table. And what I want to bring to your attention is that you can easily tap into Access databases from Excel. Many times we may have Access databases that we're using in our organizations, and maybe you've staked your career on being the Excel person and just never gotten around to having much experience with Access. Or in other cases, sometimes we don't have a license for Access on our computer, but we do have Excel. As long as you have Excel on your computer, you can then use Excel to reach out and tap into Access databases and other data sources by way of creating a pivot table. The techniques here in this case are going to differ somewhat depending on whether you're using whether you're using Office 365 or if you're using a perpetual licensed version of Excel. So historically, this wasn't something we had to worry about. We all were, when we got a new version of Excel, we would all pay once for a license for Excel. That would be a perpetual license that meant we could use Excel as far into the future as we wanted.